You're welcome. You're welcome. Welcome back, everybody. And I hope this is going to work okay. We have been having no end of internet issues recently, which is why we haven't been here for the past couple of days, as the internet man has also been thoroughly confused with our internet issues.
I broke it by coming back.
Right, our producer returned. Here, buddy.
It completely coincided with our issues. I mean, you were off because I was coming back. And then we wanted to come back, but then the internet did not allow that.
Yes, yeah, it was a nice confluence of events. You were gone, and then I was like, "Oh, we'll start up as soon as you're back." You got back on Thursday. Everything was going according to plan, and then Friday, the gods of the internet said, "No, no, 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 not today, not today."
My plane landed early and all.
Yeah, and then still no streaming.
Still no streaming.
But we're back. At least I think. I hope.
We suspect
There are some lingering networking problems, but as for right now, it seems to be, fingers crossed, running okay. Steve, welcome, Steve. What a wonderfully simple name. Hello to yourself, Steve. Thank you for being here. Happy Monday. We've got our mostly full retinue of weed devices here. And Steve, we always like to kick off our inaugural weed session. It's a clumsy way of saying that. We like to dedicate our first or whatever hit. So, Steve, you tell us which one you want, and we'll start with you. We've got our mini nail here in a brand new vessel. Finally got the slight upgrade. We've got our Mighty, our plant vaporizer, and then we've also got our Volcano. We can start that off. And Camille, good to see you, man. Welcome back. Happy Monday to you.
we're not guts here. We are guys.
We are guys. While Steve is coming up with what he wants us to do, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you were doing last week?
Oh, me?
Yeah, what were you up to?
I think the hat explains it all.
Oh, you're in the way of the chat here. Let me kick that out the way for a second. Let me put a chat over on my head. And
Maybe you can do some zoom in.
Oh yeah, I will do some sick zoom in. Hold on, guys. This requires finesse.
I could just put my hat to the camera. That would be too simple.
There it is.
Can you read it?
Oh, they can read it. Yeah, you traveled 2,500 miles just to go see good old Dolly Parton. Is that correct?
Yeah, and watch the stage play about her show, Life and Times.
Steve did answer, by the way. He says, the nail. He wants to see the mini nail. Well, Steve, great choice. Dogs are all upset. Steve, you not only get our first pick here, but you're also getting the first time this is being used. I haven't even made sure everything is A-okay. Here we go.
You tried it with no nail.
Well, I made sure air would go through. Go, dog.
Yeah, you
go.
made sure. Yeah.
They might need something more substantial to leave them alone.
All right. Let me do what I can do.
While that's happening, I'm going to get Steve our very first... Oh, shit, Steve. I almost fucked up. Producer, while you're out there, will you grab from the kitchen the top of the mini nail? The little, the sword. Blazer, in the meantime, says he got arrested for putting ketchup on a pizza in an Italian restaurant. Well, that is a crime deserving of jail time. That's like going to a Morton's and asking for Heinz 57. It's a faux pas of indescribable horrendousness, awful, terrible. You've really fucked up. Ketchup on pasta. Ketchup on pizza.
Pizza.
Shame on you. And who gives a shit? Ketchup on pizza. They're putting mayonnaise on pizza these days.
It sounds so European.
Yeah. Yuck. Anyways, here we go. Let's break in this new nail. Fingers crossed everything goes A-okay. Down you go, buddy. How'd that look? Professional? It looks a little unbalanced.
You kind of gotta hold on there. How? You do look like you're at risk of getting a whole mouthful of water. Or no? No?
All good.
80?
Better than it was before. Where I was definitely getting a mouthful of water. It works. It works.
Oh, Joe Hernandez is enjoying some Spider Mondays. And we have Tim Carey. Has Tim joined before?
Tim, I'm not sure. No. Will you hand me a Q-tip as well, please, producer?
What's a Q-tip?
Gotta keep things clean. Steve, by the way, said, Grovel, good to see you. Welcome back. Sorry for the delay.
There you go.
Steve said he's very jealous and wishes he had been to Dollywood. This is not your first time to the land of Dolly?
Dollyland. No, it's not my first time to Dollyland. You've mentioned. Anyways, we formerly were in East Tennessee, so we, each had been to Dollywood a handful of times. Got to go as a kid, which was great. Got to see it in its slightly shabbier form, not full Silver Dollar City.
There's some amazing things about Dollywood that I always... One, as producer was saying, we both grew up where Dollywood was the Disney.
It was like, 5th grade graduation, all the 5th graders go to Dollywood! Like, we were close enough, / in far away enough, that was like sort of an annual thing.
It is closer to, say, Knoxville in terms of driving. So the amount of time you're behind the wheel, it is closer to Knoxville, the biggest city in the region, than Disneyland is to downtown Los Angeles. Like
on a busy traffic day, yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty close. It's in Pigeon Forge. It was a rehabbed, shitty old theme park, which you mentioned, called Silver Dollar City. I am constantly stunned from the amount of people who do not know Dollywood exists, even today. And it's a massive, massive complex. I mean, it was even by the time I moved out, and it's only ever gotten bigger.
Boy, is it getting bigger now.
Yeah.
She's got, like, the resort-style hotel that's, like, right next to the park, which was not true, like, certainly when I was going as a kid.
It's so nice, actually. It's, having gone to a bunch of other non-Dollywood parks, and, outside of Disney itself, there are none that rival, I think, Disney in terms of, like, cleanliness and, like, friendliness of staff. It's just...
The what you might bunch all together as, like, the hospitality and vibes.
Yeah. And it's not the only thing Dolly owns out there. For the longest time, I don't know if it still exists. So, Pigeon Forge, I don't know...
Well, Pigeon Forge is, like, the thing between... It's where So Dolly grew up in severe, or
Well, I don't know if people. Yeah, I
how
don't know.
far back were you?
No, not
There's
far. I just want to.
there's Sevierville is where is like Dolly's hometown, and then between Sevierville and the Smoky Mountains, like actually going into national park.
Yes, right outside the entrance to the Smoky Mountain National Park, which I believe still is the most visited national park in the United States, which is crazy because the Smoky Mountains is very boring. Appalachian Mountains, not great. They're old. They're not particularly
It's harder and harder to see trees these days, so
sure.
there's
fair.
a lot of trees.
There's some really dope ass trees.
Top-notch creeks.
Sick creeks.
Some good trillium. It's
A
one of my
lot of
favorite
sometimes you'll get lucky in the Smoky
forest
Mountains and
wildflower.
you'll get to wait in a line of cars for several hours because somebody 15 miles in front of you spotted a bear and leads to literal hour-long traffic jams. Anyways, Pigeon Forge is Branson.
On that, when I was in East Tennessee, I saw on the local news there was that exact thing happen, that there was like a mama bear and her like 3 or 4 baby bears that were right there on the like Cades Cove Circle. So a few lucky people got to see it and the rest got to sit in traffic.
I've done it many a time. It's awful. But it's a cool place. And then right outside of the Smoky Mountains is a full-on Branson, Missouri, a full-on Myrtle Beach of the mountains, Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, a tourist hellhole with a pretty decent amusement park tucked behind it. So if you ever make it to the confluence of 40 and 75,
Oh yeah.
which is why the Smoky Mountains is the most popular national park, or was the most popular national park in the country. It's not because it's particularly interesting. All of the best national parks are west of the Continental Divide. It's simply because...
When you draw the circle of 1 day's drive from there.
Right, yes.
Especially accounting for with interstates.
Correct, yes. There's just so many people who can make it to the Smoky Mountains on a day trip that it happens to be the most popular national park. That was a lot of preamble to say that you went back to East Tennessee.
I was in East Tennessee.
And I'm going to get us caught up on the weed stuff. You can get us caught up on chat. Say hello. Pull up any cool comments, questions. Do you see any good questions?
Well, so Tim Carey, I was asking, have you heard about cannabis possibly being rescheduled? And what do you think will happen if they pass it?
Tim.
That's. I mean, who hasn't heard?
Yes, thank you for the question, Tim. We talked about it quite a bit last week, and the answer is, I do think it will happen. I mean, I think it's. I don't know how much of it is a formality at this point. I don't think Congress has anything to do with it necessarily. I think it's all administrative stuff, but how much it will change things, I don't really know.
I just have to interrupt to say, like, I think a lot of people don't know.
Right, yes.
Actually, like, because it's so weird because, I mean, there's precedent for what a Schedule 3 drug is, but there's not really precedent for fully recreational Schedule 3 drug.
That's a great point. It is, yeah.
There's precedent to get a prescription for these things.
Grovel, we talked about it quite a bit with our buddy Grovel here last week, and I come to ultimately, I think, the same conclusion that Grovel comes to, which is that even though this could put weed in an actually, ironically, bizarrely, more legally precarious position than it is now, in a perverse way, I don't think the the Biden administration is going to risk all of the turmoil that would happen from, basically switching it from its gray market status to a pretty still heavily regulated not over the counter, prescribed medicine like Tylenol with codeine or whatever. There's too much money, too much infrastructure already in place, and too many livelihood's already wrapped up in the weed industry for them to go, let's just throw a wrench in the whole thing.
Nobody really thinks that's happening, right?
Well, there is no other framework for how to sell something like this.
Right. Because my thought would be like, oh, maybe that is what would happen in states that haven't given it some other status.
I see.
That, like,
okay.
In Tennessee, for example, which has... Okay, so Tennessee is very interesting. There's no, like, legal status, or I guess depends on which map you're looking at. Sometimes Tennessee shows up on the, like, hybrid map because they did decriminalize CBD however many years back.
I would say no. Tennessee is clearly still on the illegal.
It's a clear no. But when I was there was like a straight up dispensary because they had like the loophole that
they are selling Delta 8 stuff. That is where that is becoming a...
There's some that are Delta 8 like at CBD shops, but then there are the other ones that are selling, what is it, THCA?
Which is just the unactivated element of THCA. Yeah. Which is like, if they're selling gummies with THCA, it is technically not psychoactive.
There's a place that I think is selling flour?
But what turns
because it's called Bloom, and it's like...
From what I understand, what turns THCA into THC is heat.
Is heat, yeah.
Yes, so you can't have THC, yeah.
But they're just doing it.
Right, because nobody gives a shit right now. Even in the highly illegal states, it is still the...
Illegal, yeah.
I mean, even in those illegal states, the permissiveness of the drug, because you can acquire it from so many places, and because everybody, all the cops in those states probably, if they don't know somebody who does it, they, have certainly watched the news. We forget that weed is not just popular with us blue state college.
No, yeah, I mean...
It is like...
I don't forget that.
All these polls are bad and wrong and hard to know, but it is very likely that weed is majority... weed is legalization, let's say, or decriminalization, let's just go with that, is very likely a majority opinion for Republicans now, too.
Yeah, just everyone.
Yes. It's
a truly bipartisan issue.
That will still go nowhere. Except for this new classification, which doesn't change a lot. So, who was that? That was Tim Carey?
That was Tim Carey.
Tim, this dab's for you. Let's get another one of our mini mails in.
Ooh.
Well, I'm working on it, and you can pull some stuff up.
So Joe Hernandez mentioned, while sitting at Regal waiting for Amazing Spider-Man, was thinking, when the hell are we getting a Toxic Avenger reboot? It's happening.
Oh my god!
I don't know if you know this, Joe.
It is happening.
If you haven't gone in the theater yet, it is happening.
It's a crazy, exciting director, and the guy who is playing Toxic Avenger, you will never believe. The director is, what's his name? It's gonna come to me.
It's gonna come to him.
Blue Ruin. He's an actor. He's the actor from Blue Ruin. He was also in Oppenheimer. Mavis.
Oh yeah, he's got a weird face and a weird name. Do you want me to look it up?
Please. Mavis. Macon Blair.
Macon Blair.
Yes. Oh my God. Right in the nick of time. Macon Blair is making it. A very talented guy.
He's not actually the director of Blue Ruin, but he's in it.
No, that's what I'm saying. He's just the actor.
Right.
Weird that we're talking about the Toxic Avenger. We just watched it recently, thanks to our local library.
That's right.
I had seen it when I was 4 years old. Not a movie for 4-year-olds. Not a movie for 40-year-olds. It really is a god-awful, racist... unredeeming kind of piece of shit, but fascinating. And you can see why so many people hold it in such high regard, or have this like bizarro relationship to something that is pretty vile.
Well, because there's a weird tension, like, where sometimes it is just satire. Like, it's a biting, poking at, something. And sometimes it seems like it really just is reveling in its own depravity. Certainly the most depraved thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's really, really up there. It's the kind of movie that, you always have the rule in movies like, oh, you don't kill children, you don't kill the dog. There are these canards, with these things that these lines that you don't cross, or if you do it for very good reason.
It's been earned.
Yeah.
Something.
Toxic Avenger is the movie that says, no, you definitely killed a child.
You step on the gas as you aim towards the child.
And you get the camera as close to the smushed remains as possible. And then you just keep cutting back every now and then just to remind people. But not for, like, any purpose other than just to, like, make you feel sick to your stomach. I'm not saying Toxic Avenger shouldn't exist, to be clear. It's just vile and bad, but vile and bad things are allowed. That being said, I am super excited.
That was what I was going to ask.
I am crazy excited for the Toxic Avenger reboot.
And Megan Blair's going to direct it, we know. Do you know who the stars are?
Yes, look it up. You will go, you will be even more, I think, anticipating it.
Why does it say 2023?
Because it was supposed to come out last year, and then got delayed thanks to... Wait, it already has reviews?
Maybe it did already come out?
419 reviews, so not... There's no way this came out already.
Was this a short film? No.
An hour. I just don't think it's... I think it's fake reviews that people have put up there.
Okay.
Did you see who the lead actor is?
Is the lead... we talked about it.
The lead actor... the who's who page of casting is insane, but the main guy is Peter Dinklage. It is the actual eponymous Toxic Avenger.
Yeah, there's some real who's who going on here. Wow.
Grovel said that he just had pineapple pizza the other day. It was awesome. Grovel, question: does that mean you had successfully avoided pineapple pizza up until this point? Maybe one of the most contentious foods ever made, I think. Pineapple on pizza. Where do you fall?
Oh, I don't want to get into that.
Pineapple on pizza, one of the most contentious food debates there is?
Boring.
Fair. I'm going to leave it to our producer. What do we have here comment-wise? I'm so sorry I've fallen behind.
We didn't get to say hi to GTR Zero.
Hello, welcome GTR. THC Temple I see as well.
We're talking about parks.
And Darius. Hello. I'm sorry I missed all of you guys.
Yeah.
And Joe, as you said, is doing a Spider-Man Monday.
Which have turned into Spider-Man weeks.
Yeah. He is going for the Amazing Spider-Man. The most forgotten of the Spider-Mans.
I hope we can go tomorrow or Wednesday.
To an Andy Garfield Spider-Man?
And Andy. Yeah. Andy. That's weird to call. Yes. Andrew.
Yes. Our
British. Well, no, we have lots of British Spider-Man now.
Yeah, the one American Peter Parker, the one American Spider-Man is the one with the least American sounding name.
And, yeah, and with the least, sarcastic, quippy Spider-Man
Yeah, he's
style.
very mopey. He's a mopey Peter. But I do think the first two Spider-Man movies are some of the best, moral superhero movies. They really are about a guy struggling with having to do
with the responsibility that comes with his powers.
Because they're like such small, like they don't have these grander ambitions. Or there's no,
And it's so,
externalities of this universe.
it
It's just
kinda,
like,
it feels like it could fit in an actual comic book.
yeah,
The story,
Yeah.
and even the style still.
but you really feel bad for Peter Parker in a way in those very first two Sam Raimi Spider-Men. Even though objectively worse shit happens to all of the other, your Andrew Garfields and your Tom Hollands, we've got, we get a dead Gwen Stacy. That's pretty bad. But it just feels you feel really bad for Toby, and you really do feel the whole weight of that world on his shoulders. I don't know if it's his hangdog Peter Parker or if it's Sam
His
Raimi.
broken ass back.
Yeah.
It literally broke his back.
Well, did you know the crazy rumor at the time in between Spider-Man 1 and 2? I mean, it wasn't a rumor. It almost happened. They almost recast Tobey Maguire
He
with...
had so many issues.
Do you remember who it was? And then these people later started a movie called Brothers together.
No.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake.
And then Jake
And
Gyllenhaal
then Jake
stars
does become Spider-Man.
in a weird way.
In a weird other way. OMG.
Yes.
Spider-Man 2. Oh man, I just love it so much.
What is it about Spider-Man 2 that you really...
Alfred Molina. And like what you were saying, like the feeling the weight that Toby's decided, Peter's decided that he can't have. He's just like, no, I can't do it. I cannot tell. The girl of my dreams that I love her.
That's a brutal scene when he's just tells Mary Jane in the second Spider-Man, he's like, nah, I really don't love you. And it's like, damn, Pete, you son of a bitch. She just leaves her man or something. It's brutal.
He's an astronaut.
Yeah. Well, he's J. Jonah Jameson's son.
Yeah. But he's
We'll talk a lot about Spider-Man.
Oh, man. Okay, yeah, we'll leave Spider-Man alone. But I do hope we go see it. And I was kind of sad that just being... we had a small little window of a chance to still have seen Spider-Man 3 in theaters, and we missed it. And I was sad.
Do you think Sam Raimi has a good something left in him?
What was his most recent good thing?
He does have one good thing post Spider-Man 2.
He produces stuff still, right?
Yes, lots of things. But not many of those things are good, actually. He has one great movie post Spider-Man. And I will never hear any bad word against Drag Me to Hell. Maybe the greatest PG-13 horror movie to ever exist. Truly just a work of a horror master. One of the great endings in horror. And the fact that it's a PG-13 movie and it has that just, oh my God ending, it makes it even more of a little bit of a miracle. Oh my God. But I don't know if Sam Raimi has another Drag Me to Hell in him.
Oh yeah, Oz the Green Powerful sucked.
Oh yeah, the dude did Oz. That's the movie where Zach Braff plays a flying talking monkey.
Ash vs. Evil Dead?
A TV series.
Oh, that's a TV series.
And then, of course, the Doctor Strange, which a lot of people point to as where things started to go wrong. But anyways.
It's okay.
I think it's okay, too. But
it's not great.
No.
It does not answer your question, does he have another great one in him?
I think it's closer to Oz than it is Drag Me to Hell.
Okay, alright. Off of, we'll leave Spidey alone for now.
I need a question if somebody's come up with one so I can get us a third thing here. Steve asks, isn't Silver Dollar City in Branson? Is still one. There were two of them.
Steven King Yeti thinks so. Yeah, it was like a chain. I mean, maybe there were more Silver Dollar cities.
Yeah, it was
elsewhere,
like Six Flags, though.
Yeah, so there was an old rundown one that was the broken down backbone upon which Dollywood was built.
That's so.
And there is still one ride that like harkens.
Wait, it's the Blazing Fury? Did they still have the Blazing Fury?
I'm pretty sure I saw it. I did not get a chance to ride it, but they still have this crazy old ride. I wonder what state it is in.
So the Blazing Fury is a straight up Pirates of the Caribbean knockoff, including like the guy like chasing the lady around to presumably do something very bad to her. But this time instead of pirates, it's a fire.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's the first like. I mean, I'm not a
indoor water roller coaster, but not really. But like, it's like track water, and then there's a little drop at the end.
And it was always falling apart, even when I first rode it in 1990. You know, like the animatronics' hands were coming off, or like the guy's head was backwards, or you know, y'all better come back now. From like the degrading voice boxes and all that great stuff. Ah, Dollywood.
But it's quite. Oh, it's so.
Did you get us a question?
So built up.
I don't actually count that one as that was a clarification.
I think.
Or a great comment.
Was that at us?
What?
Oh, Sega. Hey, Wheats, I'm blazing on my lunch break.
Welcome, Sega. Good to see you.
So
Thanks for being here.
We're confused by lunch break for what time zone. But lunch break,
if you're a shift worker, your lunch break is...
It's called lunch break, but you might eat dinner or some middle of the night meal on lunch break. Because it just has to be in the middle of the shift.
Correct.
It like legally has to happen, at least as far as California goes. Like, if you have 8 hours, like, it has to start by, like, 3:59. Like, they cannot make you work your full half without it having started.
Do you know how much mind share, how much thought, how much headspace is devoted, like, in the state of California? How much... I'm not saying this is a bad thing, because the alternative is, like, obviously way worse, because you would not have the more humane alternative. You would just have the worst version. But it would depress, horrify, shock, disgust, and just you couldn't begin to understand how much time is wasted, how many resources is wasted, how much mental energy goes to breaks and like scheduling breaks, complying with breaks,
being able
coverage for breaks,
properly documenting breaks, so that you know, after they'd spent all the time worrying about the breaks and getting the breaks and organizing the breaks, somebody can't come back and say, like, they didn't give me my break, or they didn't give me my break on time.
Yes, yeah. Which, again, is a great and good thing, because the alternative is you would be exploited more. But, like, the amount of effort as a society we spend on track on people taking a shit is just, it's nuts. I mean, there are probably, I'm going to say 5-figure number, excuse me, I had a hair on my tongue, employees, somewhere between 10,000 and 99,000 employees in California whose full-time job it is to, like, just make sure breaks go okay.
Yeah. And
it's just like, I don't have any greater point to make about it other than just to say lunch breaks it's big business.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's not even big business. It's like so much mind space of HR. When it's like, like you were saying, without it, sure, people would be more exploited. They'd be asked to skip their breaks. But it's also just like you wish that all of that like mind power could be going to like how to make it just an overall better experience instead of like
Correct.
Did we get the breaks?
Yes, but let's understand human behavior and say to ourselves,
incentives,
especially in the United States, would a system ever arbitrarily, or not arbitrarily, even by conscious willpower, bend towards the more humane, more egalitarian approach, or would it drift towards the more, exploitative, ruthless, let's wring out every possible, it's just like they exist for a reason, because without it, you would not have the thing that you would hope that you would have in a system where everybody just wastes so much time and energy thinking about what 15-minute window do I get to go take a fucking dump. Like,
counterpoint, Steve was a shift lead at Jamba and says it really wasn't that hard to make sure everyone got their breaks and lunches.
Steve, you sound like an excellent manager and one that should be valued and cherished. But I do fear, however, for many others, that is not the case, especially in places with...
maybe where there's like a higher ratio of people who aren't immediately within eyesight of their supervisor.
Or where they just don't have a Steve there, a competent-ass Steve, making sure people are going when they need to and making sure there's people where they need to be when they need to be there. You can't overvalue a Steve. A Steve is a valuable resource, and most businesses don't have Steves. They've got...
Brads?
Yeah,
or Brandons.
Oh, God, could you imagine?
Or Charlie. No, well, Charlie's are good. Yeah. What's it? Spencer's?
No, I think you got it right with a Brandon.
A Brandon.
Yeah, you don't want a Brandon as your manager. You really don't. Okay.
But GTR 0 got you covered with a question.
Dope.
That you
lay it on me.
May or may not be qualified to answer. Are we in the golden era of anime?
I am not qualified to answer it, but I am going to still just say yes. Just from the amount of international success it has, and not just with the kids that who... Anime is 100% cool now. Like, that is the biggest, sign that you are...
You were just showing me the totals on the... Oh, that's what you weren't showing me. But I think it did so pretty good. The, spy cross...
Well, yes, this anime release in theaters.
Anime release in theaters. And it seems like there always is one now.
Yeah, I do think probably... I mean, I know cultural cachet or doesn't equate to, artistic success, but just from the, what I see online about people talking about anime, and there was a time, say, 20 years ago, where the kids online talking about anime, even though I never watched any of it myself, I knew all of the titles, right? Because it was like, there just weren't that many that were being, dubbed and that were super successful here in the States. There were plenty, but, it was the same sort of 20 titles that you would hear. Now the amount of, things that I'd never heard of or never encountered that seem to be just more popular than any anime ever when I was growing up, just seems to be on the up and up. So I'm going to say anime is in a golden age, even though I regrettably don't watch much of it. I watched a couple of the big anime movies.
A little bit.
There were, in addition to the, I forget what you call them, the weekly, mangas, series that now get, movie adaptations. The big, just straight up anime movie releases, I've seen a couple of. And not just the Miyazaki ones. There was Belle from a couple of years ago, which I watched and liked a lot. And then, what was the one? Suzume. Was that the chair one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or the door.
The door.
But that was also the chair.
Yes, I think so. They can seem familiar at times. But I've watched some, and I really enjoy it, and would like to get into it more. And my guess is that it will be an inevitability. It seemed like we're all going to be watching anime in a few years' time with the trajectory it's on now. Which, who would have ever thought, 20 years ago, that anime would be the cool kid thing, which it kind of is. So that was GTR Zero? Who gave us that question?
Yes.
GTR Zero, let's get, you know what? Let's bust out the volcano. We finally got a new strain in. I think I'm going to have to turn it on, unfortunately.
Oh, there's your toilet.
Back on.
Speaking of Japan.
Yeah. And while I get this warmed up, it's got to get a couple 100 degrees there.
Steve listed Evangeline, Trigun, Gundam, and I like the mech stuff.
The big robot ones. I remember back in the turn of the millennium watching some of the very few times in my life I watched any kind of anime was some Gundam Wing back in the day. I don't know which Gundam. There's so many Gundams. They're like a bajillion Gundams. I don't know which one it was, but the one that was on Cartoon Network in like the year 99, that shit was sick.
You know what I saw is coming to theaters, I think this week. I think it's this week. It's like the first in a long time that I've been like legitimately tempted for a no passes one. Transformers. But like the cartoon.
The old like 1985, 86.
Yeah. That's like the only Transformers that I possibly care about.
What's the saddest of all the Transformers?
Because
Optimus, not to spoil anything.
Oh.
For the 1985 Transformers movie. But something bad happens to a beloved guy who turns into a truck.
Oh, okay.
No extra clues on who that might be.
Okay. Optimus.
Well, I thought you were basically suggesting maybe you would. Do you have any relationship to the?
I'd seen I thought it was It is like the
show.
TV. It's like the movie from the TV show.
Yes.
Okay, I've seen some of the show.
Then you're good to go.
Yeah.
You've seen there's a guy who turns into a truck and a guy who turns into.
Yeah.
Megatron's, Optimuses.
Yeah.
Dude, in last year's Transformers Beast Asses, Beast Wars.
Rise of the Beast Wars.
Rise of the Beast Wars. I will never.
We kind of have to like rehash this every once in a while. Like we'll just be walking the dogs, and he's like, "Do you remember when
in Transformers
Anthony Ramos wears Skeet's skin suit?"
Pete Davidson is a Transformer for some ungodly reason.
Well, not ungodly reason, just because Pete is Skeet and Skeet is...
You do know what Skeet means.
He's Skeet Davidson, and I understand that that's a double entendre.
I mean, it's not real. It's just a straight up. It's really not masked.
There's no double.
Yeah.
There's just single.
Yeah.
Single entendre.
It's just a straight blast to the face. Pete Davidson is a Transformer in the most recent Transformers movie. Pete Davidson has a similar fate to another Transformer from a much older Transformers movie that we're not going to mention.
Optimus.
At some point, I don't know if people know this, like if they've seen this, because this is ostensibly like
Steve saw it.
It's like a family movie.
Back us up, Steve.
But it's not just it's a family movie, Steve, in some way. It's maybe the most family-friendly Transformers outside of Bumblebee. So, but it is like, let's say it. Let's call it a family movie.
Okay, call it, yeah.
And Pete Davidson gets Buffalo bobbed. He gets
whatever the robot version of that is.
Yeah, he gets, or Buffalo Bill, whatever Buffalo Bob or Bill. Silence of the Lambs. Pete Davidson, he's a transformer. So he doesn't have skin like Buffalo Bill to make a skin suit. But he does have an exoskeleton.
An exo shell.
Yeah, there's something that one can, slip into. And our boy Anthony Ramos just puts on
He wears him.
He just puts on Pete Davidson's skin.
He wears him.
He's just like, oh shit, my best buddy Pete Davidson is dead. Oh God, there's his body on the field. Oh no, oh Lord, oh no, oh no. Instead of just sitting there and like weeping and crying over his dead friend, he's like, hey, what if I wore this motherfucker? And he just puts him on. He just wears his dead friend, and it kind of turns him into Mega Man. In a way.
Yeah.
And then they fight.
And then he gets to fight the robot, or the beast, or whatever's bad.
Yeah. And then somehow G.I. Joe's involved.
I forgot about that.
I think it was the teaser at the end.
They're launching it.
So, GTR 0, this one is for you. Sorry about the Pete Davidson talk, guys. Especially the Skeet Davidson talk.
Oh, man.
Oh, no, go ahead. Our first volcano bag is up here of our strain, which is Illuminati. Because it's like Illuminati, but with lemon inside of it.
Is it citrusy?
Oh, it smells like weed. Yum. GTR 0 says, we have a bear problem, and he's in the LA area. Yes, we do have. We've got all kinds of problems. We've got bear problems. We've certainly got coyote problems. We got puma problems. We got panther problems.
Those are all the same problem.
Cougar problems.
Same problem.
We got mountain lion problems.
Same problem.
We got, there's got to be another one that I'm forgetting named problems. But we do have all of those problems. It's an urban jungle out here.
I saw a news segment, I think it was Northern California or Central California, where, I mean, you already know this, just in a community where now the bears just, walk into people's houses.
Meaning all those bears are going to die very soon.
Because they're not getting enough food.
Because they will do something...
Or, they will get killed by the municipality. Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, there's people, they are going to get killed.
GTR0, this bag is for you. Let's hope no bears die. But that is usually the outcome of a bear that has lost its fear of people and learned that it's food.
I can open this door right here.
The problem, so, coyotes have mostly figured it out. You don't want to be, well, I guess you kind of do, but it's bad for everybody in a ways. Like, to be a mammal and to be a very smart mammal predator and to have cities around just leads to those bear situations, a lot of dead house cats, and a lot of then, animosity towards coyotes. You really need to be the raccoon. Raccoons are the mammal boys who've got city life figured out. And they're not dying because of it. They're super smart, they're clever.
Is the trick just to eat our trash and leave the rest of our dwellings alone.
The trick is to eat our trash and not be a threat to humans or their pets.
Right. Yeah.
Because coyotes would be fine if coyotes didn't eat house cats. But they do. And because of that, they get,
Nobody should be leaving their cats outside.
it does happen.
It happens.
Yeah.
I mean, the cats certainly like it until they get eaten, presumably.
And of course, we're not even talking about, this is the, second tier mammals. We're excluding the rodents here because mice and rats have the run of the city. They're the kings of the urban areas, not us. If you think people are in control of the cities, you got it backwards, my friends. It's the fucking rats. I mean, in some ways,
I thought Eric Adams was going to take care of that in New York City. He's got a whole. He appointed a chief rat person.
A rat czar.
A rat czar. Excuse me.
If you're in New York City and some other heavily dense urban areas, you can join a local volunteer dog ratting squad.
Where the dogs sniff them out
and break their necks. It happens a lot with Jack Russell Terriers. They're dog in New York City. They're dog ratting squads where people will go at night and take their small dogs out to urban areas. And
we heard this story from DC too.
Yes.
Big rat problem that they were solving with Jack Russells.
And they love to do it. It's a vile, awful thing on this side of it, but
But I can totally picture it because I've seen my dogs do it to toys. So,
wriggle it around and. Now, unfortunately, you got to watch out in some areas because the rats do rival the size of.
Jack.
Yeah.
They would be rodents of unusual size.
Yes.
You know that reference now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna focus on this bag while you pull. Just caught up with chat. Say hello.
One thing this is definitely a catching up. Missed saying this. Hopefully you're still around. Nathan, so nice of you to say Nathan Knop. That's a K-N, so maybe it could be a fully silent.
Nathan Knapp.
Knop. Haven't tuned in the channel in a while. Hope you're doing good, man. Much love from Maine. And, that's that same comment twice. But, so nice, so glad you're tuning in all the way on the diametrically opposed part of the country.
Say hi to Stephen King for me.
And Jack Daniels joining. Also, long time no see.
Jackie D, welcome back, man. Good to see you.
Biggest U.S. coin denomination you have ever seen. Is it a $1 coin?
Yes. I don't think I have seen any larger. I never got to see Obama's $1 trillion coin. Unfortunately. Although I think it was a fun hardball solution.
Biden, right?
I mean, it was Obama when they first were floating it back in 2013.
But it came back recently into the discussion.
Yeah.
But not into the actuality.
In case you don't know what I'm referring to, the routinely, because of the terrible nature of our republic and its dysfunctioning nature and its just mind-bogglingly stupid way that it is set up, every year there is a big fight, especially if the people in the legislature are not the same people in the executive, which is why parliamentary systems are better. The legislator is the one who basically approves the budget for all the stuff that they have already said that they are going to buy and pay for, but the president still has to sign it. But the legislator likes to use that as an excuse, hold the budget hostage for various political purposes. What were we talking about the budget for? Oh, yes, the $1 trillion coin.
And
So,
the largest denomination.
yes, the largest denomination coin, which I don't think I know anything more than the $1, like the Sacagawea dollar.
Definitely
in the
saw
US.
that Sacagawea dollar.
I do believe that there are higher denomination coins in the U.S. There are actually all kinds of weird, small.
Like those things that are on the back of the newspaper or the ads.
Yes,
that are like,
yes.
Buy your treasury commemorative blah blah blah. Are those sometimes like $5 coins or something?
I think, yes. Those are from the mint, but I don't know if it's hard to know. Yes.
And supposedly you can use them as legal tender, but what like local shop would actually take it and believe you?
Can we do quick currency facts? $1 trillion coin was an idea that the executive is in control of the treasury, so that they could just print and in control of monetary policies, so they could just print a $1 trillion coin on command and use that $1 trillion coin to, pay for all of the budget that we have already ostensibly, earmarked for whatever. Anyways, here are a couple of cool monetary questions. What percentage of U.S. bills do you think in circulation or printed? What percentage of U.S. bills printed are $100 bills?
What percentage of bills printed?
Yes.
25%.
It's a good guess, but it is over 80. And when you really stop to think about it, it makes total sense, because the majority of the cash money that is out there is actually not being used or spent for purchasing. It is storing somewhere, and storing a value. So the
$100. I do know. I mean, both in banks and globally, the $100 bill is the way that cash is carried.
Yes. So that is even though they are not the ones in circulation the most necessarily, or exchanging hands the most.
The number of exchanges.
Yeah. Yes. They are far and away the most printed bill. Would you get rid of the $1 bill?
I would love to.
I would too. I think we should get rid of.
Would you keep any coins?
Yes, I would keep a quarter for sure.
You would get rid of the $1 bill, but you would keep the quarter?
Yes. I would have a $1 coin.
$1 coin and the quarter.
Yes.
But no more pennies, no more nickels, no more dimes.
Yes.
And all businesses need to just make things divisible by a quarter, or round.
Yeah,
but
of course.
How would we? It shouldn't just be that everything's always rounded up. So will the government would there be a law about they have to round down half the time?
I think you're misunderestimate how precise pricing is on things. It's never that precise.
Right.
Unless it's a thing that is sold in for a super cheap price, because there are things that are bought and sold that are less than a quarter per unit price.
Yeah.
And so what do you do with those?
I mean, yeah, okay.
You would have to have bulk sales.
Bulk sales,
yes.
Or, also you could still. I guess credit card companies wouldn't really want this, but if you're only going to buy one, nothing would be stopping you from charging 12 cents on a digital transaction, even though there's no physical coinage for that.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I never thought about that. Do you then just nuke the idea of divisional? Well, what would be the purpose of keeping
that 12 cent?
Yeah, or even that idea that money could be fractionally subdivided in that way.
I don't know, but it's what would it doesn't really, it's why force it to be a quarter when
let us know out there in chat.
Obviously you don't need to for any.
We're killing currencies.
Yeah.
I got the gun to the back of the head. Who am I putting down? Obviously, we're taking the penny out. Next up is the nickel. Let me know out there if you want the nickel alive or not. I'm saying it's getting old yeller. Boom, nickel, you're done. Now we're getting controversial. Now we're getting somewhere. Dime, you're up on the chopping block. Let's do it. Dime. Dime, are we?
Oh, I'm all for it.
Boom, she says, Dime, you're done. Let us know out there in chat. Are we putting down the time, dude? Should I put another slug in them? Or maybe, is there some life left in the dime? And can you guys bring them back? Or are you saying, yes, get the shovels, get the lime, bury that, decimate that fucker?
Whoa.
I'm going to give myself credit for that one.
I do like that. Jack Daniels has the answer to the largest coin is $100. I saw there's like the $50 gold coin, which includes like the American Eagle gold coin, which I definitely have seen like on the back of a little rag mag ad.
Oh, that was the other currency fact I forgot. And this one is just so delightful to me. The $2 bill.
Oh yeah, the $2 bill.
The beloved, wacky, weirdo $2 bill is not out of circulation. They print still to this day, I think like 500,000 $2 bills a year or something.
That's nothing.
Yes, it is literally nothing. It is $1 million in currency. I'm sure the cost of doing that far exceeds the $2 any use. But it's just quirky and weird. You often see them, or used to see them most in surveys. Survey companies love to give them out because they were, fetching and weird. And I don't know how much of that still happens. I assume the internet has really killed the mail-in survey industry, but it might still exist. But we're still printing very, very minute quantities of $2 bills, I think, today. I don't know the last time I checked, but pretty recently.
Steve's voting to keep the dimes because they're the littlest.
Steve says, keep the dime. They're the smallest. I do think there is an argument made that the dime could survive. I don't think that there is any case. There's zero case for a penny. I mean, there's just zero. There is, once the actual material cost of the penny exceeded the fiat benefit or fiat, value of a penny, it was laughable that we did it. Believe it or not, you know why we do it? Because a lot of powerful people are, in the zinc industry. They have a vested interest in that we keep this truly worthless piece of copper-colored zinc.
So we listened to some people who, we're journalists who study money and business talk about this. And what was the fact about, the last time a coin was eliminated?
The halfpenny.
The halfpenny.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if you go back to that time, the penny in that time is now
worth 12 cents or something.
Or no, it was
so
more
much
more.
more.
It was like 39 cents.
Yeah, that's right.
So
yes.
It's
that's such a great point.
Okay,
Will you re-explain that? Because I think it's an interesting, careful, nuanced thing.
I
can try.
Okay.
So the last time the U.S. eliminated a piece of currency, I think it was the U.S., and this was not Great Britain, used as an example. There was a halfpenny. And we at some point pulled it out of circulation, said we're not dealing with halfpennies anymore.
So
They don't.
it was last minted in 1857.
Wow. Holy hell. So it was last minted. We last used them in 1857 because we thought at the time they just weren't useful enough. At the time that we got rid of the half penny.
So if you took, like, what is a penny worth in 1857 today?
It is worth something like 39 cents or something outrageous. So.
Meaning, like, the last time that as a country we're like, let's eliminate a coin.
Because it is useless.
Because it's useless. It was half of a penny.
It was
and
worth
now a penny
more than what a quarter is worth today.
Yeah.
Significantly more, I think. Something like that.
Or, yeah, it would be worth about the same as a quarter.
Yeah.
So, definitely more than a nickel and a dime. And definitely more than a penny.
And we still keep the penny around.
Still keep the penny
Even
around.
though in 1859 we're like, oh, let's get rid of this, useless thing that's worth way more than what a penny is worth today.
And back to that conversation of these, like, people who report on money and business, like, they're having this conversation. One of them was very, like, pro, let's get rid of the penny. And then, like, in response, this other person's like, no, like, I have my jar of pennies. Like, we can't get rid of the penny because I love taking my giant fucking 10, 20-pound jar of pennies to Coinstar every year and getting $13 out of it. It's like, why is that a good thing? Why are you proud of that? Why? I mean,
well, and also
this is a person who often frustrates me with her opinions, but that just was like, I did want to respect her as a, New York Times published author and journalist, but no, that's just not a reason to keep it.
And also,
that's the exact reason we should get rid of it.
It is not. It doesn't mean when you take the penny out of circulation that pennies become instantly worthless.
Right. There would be I guess that would all be handled, right? There'd be some time.
Yes.
When they'd still be accepted. It's not like...
I mean, no, you can still turn in all kinds of crazy currencies that aren't used anymore.
Okay.
That are still considered legal. I mean, just because it is no longer in circulation does not mean it isn't.
Like, certainly stop printing it. Stop printing it now.
Yes, yeah.
Like, don't print more of them. We have all the pennies we need. We have more than all the pennies we need.
Last coin fact.
Thank you.
Or coin talk. People often confuse the idea of all our currency saying like valid, legal U.S. tender or whatever with the idea that a business must take that as payment.
They don't have to.
That is not what that means in the slightest. A business is free to take whatever kind of payment in whatever form they are so choose to take.
Just as a business is free to say, like, you're not wearing a shirt, you're not wearing shoes, we're not going to serve you.
Now,
but the FDIC-backed banks,
yes.
Right? That would be where it matters.
Now, your local, like, clerk's office, they might have to take, if you want to go pay
pay a parking ticket?
In pennies, they probably do have to. I don't know that for sure.
Somebody try it out and
Yeah.
let us know how it goes.
But if you, go to 7-Eleven to pay for your Slurpee and Nerds Big Bumpy Beans with $7 of nickels, dimes, and sticky pennies, and the guy's like, get the fuck out of here, he can do that.
Hey, Katie D. Thank you. Thank you for the welcome back. I'll just quickly retread. I was back last week on Thursday, actually. Very tired, of course, a little jet lagged. But I got back, in the early afternoon. We even thought it might be a possibility to stream that day, or at least on Friday. But as soon as I came back, I apparently broke the internet because when I got back, our internet was broken and still might be having issues, although it seems like hopefully everything's going okay for this stream. So, fingers crossed.
We have a 2 gig internet connection, which is too much.
and not what we actually get.
Well, I only have a gigabit Ethernet port.
Oh, right.
The pipe is limited by how the diameter of the pipe. I mean, we do have a 2 gig connection, but the biggest pipe I have to allow all that 2 gig to flood in at me, just rushing at me, is just 1 gig. Now, it's still we still have 2 gigs to split over everything in the studio, but
Right.
but the biggest single pipe I have, they do have 10 gigabit, inputs. I do feel that my 1 gigabit though on that device
is sufficient.
It'll do.
It's doing the business.
Yeah.
Okay. I've gone backwards, but in going backwards, I've gone back to 2 things.
Lay it on me.
Carmyar. I saw previously. I saw last week. I saw some of the streams. Just in making observations. Adds Jesus had problems. Wheats has problems.
He's just saying.
Just saying.
He's not connecting any He's not connecting any strings here. No red yarn. But Jesus was a man with a lot of problems. I was about to say that he had 99 problems, but that's either Jay-Z or Martin Luther. Jesus had some kind of problems.
Yeah.
There's a snake and a Judas. There's the whole Judas factor.
Deserts. There's a desert.
Oh yeah, wandering around. I'm sure he got bored at times too. Hungry. Probably not horny. Unless you're like one of those. Unless you watch the Da Vinci Code. Was Jesus I don't know. Jesus, he had problems too. And Weeks has problems.
Yeah.
Deserts.
But
snakes. All this.
Yeah, all those things. Steve had a very concrete question.
Yes.
I think this was back when we were getting a little too down in the weeds with lunch breaks. But great question inspired by that. Who was the worst manager you ever had?
I don't know if I've ever... I can't say too much because some of this would be...
Yeah, it's very specific. I was gonna say, like, I would also decline. I haven't really had any bad managers.
Okay.
I've been frustrated with managers at times, but I've never had anybody who would qualify to get listed as a worst.
I don't know if I've told this story on stream or not. I don't think that I have.
Ooh.
And I'm going to try to be vague. And it's another one that I wouldn't believe it if it... coming from, if I heard somebody tell it just sounds too perfect. It's like, okay, and, at the end, you're going to just say, like, derisively in your own mind, and everybody clapped. But this did happen. And so I'm going to use this telling the story as an excuse to, your question. Great question. Let's get a bag. Who was this?
That's Steve.
Steve. Thank you, Steve. Actually, I'm going to save the bag and let's do a small little dab. Our second for Steve today. Save the big bag for a little bit later on. And I'm trying to make it a small dab.
Okay.
I'm just breaking it with my fingers grossly. So, I used to do very briefly, like, professional technical style writing on certain topics. And I briefly worked for a person who had insane credentials. He had both a high level, this kind of very prestigious degree, and a slightly less prestigious, but still incredibly valuable and status providing degree, and he had melded these things together for a legal purpose. He'd become an expert witness. And I wrote for him briefly in his field to write about his topic and help, I guess, weird thing like attract clients.
You were creating content.
Yes.
It definitely merits the content word as much as you might hate it.
And I did it for about a month and wrote many things for this gentleman's marketing purposes and beyond. And as often happens in the world of freelance, was never able to get the money from him for all of the writing. And so after a month, I'm like, I cannot write anything else for you unless I get paid. And that is the literal last time I heard of him. I realized how I considered suing, all that stuff, but as often is the case, it's prohibitively expensive for, even though it seems like slam dunk, it's still a lot of work, a lot of headaches, just and so much uncertainty.
Easy to choose to just let it go.
Let it go. So the manager there, total stiffing dick, unfortunately is the thing that happens a lot with freelancing work and just the cost of doing business, I guess. Fast forward over a year later, I get an email from that law firm,
office manager,
the guy I really dealt with at the office. I rarely dealt with the head guy, the expert,
the actual multi-degree.
Dealt with the office manager, the guy who stiffed me, and I get an email from him, and the email just reads like something like urgent, cannot let somebody see, blah 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 blah. It is just in the subject. And I'm like, I immediately recognize the email. I'm like, what the fuck? And it is just one of those, sent it to me by mistake because my email address was so similar to the person they intended to send it to. It was like an entire legal strategy with some awful, terrible accusations they were going to make about the defendant in this case. It was really...
It included, private health information.
Lots of it. And HIPAA violations up the wazoo. And it came to me. And I got it, and I'm not too proud to say it. I immediately emailed back, to the guy, hey, why did you email this document to the guy that you stiffed for all that work over a year ago? And the guy goes, within minutes, just 2 minutes, emails me back. He goes, we'll have the check out to your, just give me your address, we'll have the check out, please just delete the email and, send me the receipt of whatever when you get the check. So it's like, okay. I wait and I get the check. It comes in they don't just mail it, they FedEx it to me overnight. It gets to my door. I get it, deposit it, make sure it goes in, and then I just immediately take the email that I received from them, look up the person that they're talking about, find them very quickly online, and just email them the entire document and say, hey, you guys might want to heads up on this. It ended up accidentally my way, and then just send it their way. And I have no idea what ended up happening. I'm guessing it wasn't very good for them. I never heard back from them either, but it felt really good at the time. I got to tell you, it felt very, very, very good. So yeah, that's the story of my worst manager. But I did end up getting paid.
Worst client, I think.
Yeah. So this, Steve, is for you.
Yeah, they really should have known better.
Or had me sign something.
think, yeah, at a legal firm, you'd think they'd get you into a little more legally binding of an agreement.
My guess is it was blind, raw
Panic.
from that office manager. Just like, oh God, I am so fucked. I am so fucked. Doing whatever he could as quickly as he could without trying to let anybody else know how badly he had fucked up.
I think that's the guess.
It really had that air of desperation about it.
But yes, at the end, freelancers everywhere stood up and clapped.
Yes, yeah. And on that day, they all resigned and went to prison, too. The bad guys.
The bad guy. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, right.
For reasons, I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
Michael Clayton.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh, that's a good movie. Seen any good movies lately?
Have we seen any good... We saw Fall Guy on Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Friday.
Opening night?
Ish.
I think that was Friday. It was Saturday?
Saturday.
It was Friday. It was Saturday.
It was one of those days.
It was this weekend. It was this weekend. Opening weekend.
Fall Guy's great. Another David Leitch winner. Unfortunately, looks like it kind of bombed. And
we were just talking about that.
Yeah, it does not portend well for the poor box office.
This is the start of the summer box office.
And Fall Guys had a great reviews. It's what everybody is begging for, some new ideas, something different, something not, even though it really is based on an old TV show, which I didn't know until a couple days ago.
But yeah, mostly original.
Yeah. So it was sad to see it kind of bomb. I thought it was great, actually. I thankfully get to avoid most trailers and don't get to see all that stuff. So I didn't know how much of a romantic comedy it was. I don't know if you'd call it a romantic... I think you would. Which I actually found refreshing and great. It's
the chemistry's great.
Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt.
Two of my faves.
It's the guy who did a couple of the John Wicks, one of the Deadpools, Bullet Train. It's good. It will be a great thing to watch when it, hits Netflix or whatever. Oh, it's Universal, so it'll be out on Peacock or something at some point, probably too soon.
Yeah.
But I liked it. If you want something fun, diverting, funny, and
it had some big screen bombast.
Yeah, it's as predictable as you could ever.
Yeah, the moment the thing was set up, oh, here's the problem. He's like, oh, that person's deeply involved with this trouble.
Yeah.
He called it. I mean, he almost always does.
I think it's in the category of Shane Black. It is not Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Excuse me, I'm all burping and shit. Mm-hmm. It's not as good as Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which is of course one of the funniest movies of all time, but it is a great summer movie. And if you've never seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, I think it's on Max or something. You gotta watch it. It has one of the funniest just scenes in movies this side of dream scenario.
Can we just pretend that that's what Robert Downey Jr.'s Oscar is for?
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang?
Yeah.
Instead of Oppenheimer?
Yeah.
I mean, I think both would be fine.
Oh, okay, that's fine. But that was Shane Black's directorial debut.
Yes. After being a screenwriter of those kind of movies for a long time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was just a writer before that, and an actor. That's the weird thing. He was an actor in Predator. He's like the first guy to die in Predator. And then he goes on to write and direct one of the worst of the Predator movies, which hurt so bad. Really hurt. All right, you got to get us, will you get us one more great question, an all-timer here for our next bag, if you see any good ones.
Do you agree with Grovel, who says Deadpool is going to be the biggest movie of the year?
Oh, Grovel. Yes. You can never predict a Top Gun Maverick. One of these, like, out of left field, just sort of hits the zeitgeist.
Because we are getting Blue Angels.
That was not going to be Top Gun Maverick, no. I just mean, like, this, everybody kind of predicted that Top Gun, we knew it was going to be a hit.
Right.
But it just caught cultural fire and became the biggest movie of the year. That is likely what will be the biggest movie of the year, is something like that. But if you were to put it into a calculator right now, give you the Chat GPT 6.0 and say, hey, future cast for me, which is something Chat GPT 6.0 will be able to do, in addition to cracking all nuclear codes.
Right.
Presumably.
Yeah, good.
And you were to say, look at all these movie releases coming up, plug in all of the, information about those movies, who stars in them, what the franchise is, what the previous grosses are.
What the kids are saying on Twitter.
What the pre-ticket sales are. The computer would definitely split out. I think there's no question it would spit out Deadpool. What are the things that could choke it up? Never heard it before, but it is still R-rated, which does put a kind of...
There's a floor.
Yes.
Or a ceiling.
Yes.
Or,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think, the abacus says Deadpool is your biggest movie of the year. I don't know. I can't think of what else is coming out. Like, there's not an Avatar. There's not a... It's the only Marvel movie coming out. And also, I would say this, Grovel, I'd go further. I would say that nobody should take from Deadpool any... it should not be used as like a weather vane for future superhero movies. It is going to come in as kind of an anomalous thing, as all the Deadpools are. And it will have the extra, almost Spider-Man, Far From Home, No Way Home kind of multiple Spider-Mans. Having Hugh Jackman in it with Wolverine is such a big deal, I think. It's going to have that same just like event feel. But I don't think anybody should assume if and when Deadpool 3 is the biggest Deadpool movie yet, that means that whatever the next Marvel movie is, Captain America 4 or something, will rebound from Marvel's like losing streak. I think Deadpool is an anomaly in a sort of class of its own, and is not a bellwether for any future appetite for superhero movies. That being said, if Deadpool 3 comes out and flops, you can go ahead and say that the absolute worst case scenario, the most dire predictions for the MCU are true, I think. But there's nothing good you can predict from its success, if that makes any sense. I think that's true. I think the only possible interpretation from Deadpool is if it somehow bombs. It does mean that there is bad news coming for all comic book movies, MCU, whatever James Gunn is doing. But if it's a success, again, doesn't really mean that anything going forward will that the whole comic book industry movie is not in trouble. I don't think so. There are a lot of people who watch just Deadpool. They just like it Deadpool. Like that's they don't see any other comic book movies. They just think Deadpool's funny. Great comment, question. Grovel is back.
I turned it into a question.
Uh,
Grovel just stated it.
yes, but I think it is
There is Mad Max.
there's no chance.
That's because it's too small. Because it's too.
I mean, not even Fury Road was that big of a. I mean, it was.
Okay. It could have a chance critically, but not
Yes.
in terms of box office.
0% chance. I would bet.
Do you think? So I was talking up Wicked to you the other day,
Yes.
which is a Thanksgiving release, and what do you think? Do you have any? I don't know why am I boosting Wicked, but musicals have been such a flop for Hollywood recently.
Yeah, I was gonna say right now, but those are like Wicked has the double IP benefit.
Yeah,
like,
it's sort of is closer to like a Harry Potter in that it's like a thing that millennials read or saw the musical in their millennial nostalgia times.
I think it'll operate much more like Wonka than Color Purple.
Or Little Mermaid.
Well, Little Mermaid, everybody, it was always going to be a big success.
Right.
Because of all, like, the IP lead-in. But Wicked is more, is much more like Charlie and the, like, the IP relation is much more...
Okay, more like...
that
around that same time.
Yeah. And I think if it's good, it will probably be a success, because I think the, like...
Is it a test of how big of a draw Ariana Grande is?
Oh, is that who's in it?
She is, she's the blondie.
I don't know anything about Wicked, but I don't know, actually.
It's back when the Wicked Witch and the Good Witch are friends in school.
Oh, wow, okay. I did not know that. Interesting. Great question about the box office. I think it probably will not fall under the disaster as, like, West Side Story.
Yeah, and I mean, hopefully they'll fix the marketing that they don't try to, like, sneak in the fact that it's a musical. Which has been the way. I mean, I guess because musicals have done so poorly. Anyways, John Jay asks, hey John Jay, have you seen the roast of Tom Brady? It's actually hilarious.
No, but I did hear a little bit about it. It sounds like it was brutal, actually. Some really good, nasty stuff in there. Was it live, right? It was a Netflix live thing, which is going to continue to become a bigger and bigger deal, I think.
Interesting in and of itself.
Yeah. That's a figure one could find a lot of material. I'm not a sports guy, unfortunately, to know. He's the guy with the...
In Deflategate.
Yes, yeah, he's the cheater.
But, I mean, that 1 year cheated, but then, like, all the freaking other years that they won, the Patriots...
Well, wouldn't the assumption be that they were cheating on those two? Because they only got caught, I think, through some weird circumstance.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people think of him as, like,
we've talked about this before. There is way more cheating going on in professional sports than anybody really cares to, wants to believe to be true.
We were talking about gambling.
And it's only going to get worse as people and those people close to them get entangled with the ever-growing and easily accessible sports gambling markets. I already don't know how anybody trusts sports, but in a couple of years' time, it's all going to be a massive fucking sham because it will be impossible to disentangle the sports betting stuff from the game and how it will affect people, whether either intentionally or not. But then again, it's all random anyways. Gambling is gambling. You're just taking random chances. So you're just going to take the random chance that you're going to be on the right side of probably some cheating instead of the wrong side. So what's the difference anyways? It's all just...
And even with cheating, one guy could always fuck up the, fumble or catch that he's supposed to fumble or catch.
Right. Unless, depends how big the money gets in and how corrupted the sports become.
Because, are the refs corrupt, too?
Correct, yes. That's the stuff I'm talking... Every possible person who can influence it at any level.
It's just so hard to relate to caring about sports.
I agree.
So, when you say, if people want to trust it, I just can't, what is there to trust?
Well, people put their whole identities into it.
I know,
They
yeah.
want to trust it.
But I don't think people really examine that question.
Shocking. All right, well, that's going to do it for our first stream back. I'm going to finish our bag here. It's been so fun hanging out. Thank you, producer, for joining us again. It's been too long.
It's great to be back.
I should definitely be back tomorrow, barring any...
Are you going to play any games?
I hope to.
Are you still playing...
Do I need to be playing Hades too?
Oh, that was a question. Level asked if you played it yet.
I have not. I still am not sure where I'm at, if I'm going to want to wait till it's closer to release or 1.0 or whatever, but that Zeitgeist is getting me. Love that Hades 1.
I did love that. Hades
So
1.
I might have to give in, play some Hades tomorrow. We shall see. That then, guys, is going to do it. Thanks, producer. Thanks to everyone else in chat. It's been a blast hanging out, being back. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Are you going to play the song?
Can I do it?
Let me mute our mic at least. Hold on.